Good morning. Welcome to Talkline on the MetroNews Radio Network.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded.
We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
Holy smoke.
From the studios of the West Virginia Radio Corporation and the MetroNews Radio Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful radio show in West Virginia. This is MetroNews Talkline with Hoppy Kercheval.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Q Hoppy. You're on.
Good morning. Welcome to Talkline on MetroNews in and around the great state. Hoppy Kercheval with you. Talkline presented by MVB Bank. Your most valuable bank member, FDIC. I'm Hoppy Kercheval. My producer is Joe Nelson. Matt Sunday handling the video stream. You can watch us at wvmetronews.com on the MetroNews channel. Coming up today, let's go back to front, shall we? At 11:30, Steam Release, your weekly opportunity to vent. And that's coming up at 11:33. You can do it by phone at 1-800-765-8255. Email your Steam, talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your Steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text your Steam, 304-TALK-304. That's coming up at 11:33. And you can vent about me. And I can't respond. Those are the guidelines I drew up years ago. Coming up at 11 o'clock hour, another candidate for Secretary of State in West Virginia. And I think it's going to be a Metro News first, because the announcement will come from Afghanistan. That's all I'm going to say right now. Not a secret. It's not really a secret. It's just all I'm going to say right now. Coming up later this hour, Monty Cater, Shepherd University football coach, Division II semifinal game tomorrow against Grand Valley or Grandview State University? Let me check that. I should know that. Grand Valley State, Grandview State, and they're from Michigan. They're a big deal. They're the Alabama of Division II, and we're going to talk with Grand Valley State out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Grand Valley State, and we'll talk with Coach Monty Cater. There should be a huge crowd at Ram Stadium tomorrow, and we'll talk with Coach Cater about the game. Also coming up, the Frontier Communication settlement. The Attorney General's office, Patrick Marcy's office, announcing a settlement with Frontier Communications in a dispute over the speed of its high-speed internet. Now, this has been an issue that's been simmering out there for a couple of years. And the Attorney General announcing a settlement that he says is valued at $160 million. Now, there's a different interpretation, as you might expect, even though this is an agreed-upon settlement and Frontier does not acknowledge any wrongdoing. There's a difference of opinion about some parts of the settlement. And we'll talk not only with Patrick Marcy, I recorded an interview with him about 2 hours ago, but also with Vice President for Frontier, Rich O'Brien. He'll join us at 10:30. We'll get his version of this deal and also what it means for customers. And we got some other political news. I wrote this morning, I think that when the when the report comes out, probably next week, of which states are judicial hellholes. And West Virginia has been on that list for some time, since probably 2003, put out by the American Tort Reform Association. West Virginia is always at or near the top of judicial hellholes. That with all the legislature did earlier this year, there's no way that West Virginia should be on that list. We'll talk with House Speaker Tim Armstead about that. And we're not going to talk with Senate President Bill Cole, but I am told that the Senate President is absolutely fuming over what members of the PEIA Finance Board did and said. Now, yesterday, the PEIA Finance Board finalized the changes, the much talked about changes to the benefit structure for public employees and retirees. And it's been the position of the Finance Board is that this is the money that it has to deal with. It can't change the premiums for active workers. That's up to the legislature. It has to keep the 80-20 split, 80% of the premium cost to the 80% of the cost to the state, 20% of the employee, so that its hands are essentially tied. Well, something was said by the PEI Finance Board yesterday that has Bill Cole fuming, and he threw down and issued a statement really going after the PEI Finance Board. We'll talk about that coming up this morning. Also, update from Paris on the climate talks. I know where this is going. I know exactly where this is going. And it's not going to have a lot to do with 2 degrees increase in temperature or stopping an increase in temperature. It has to do with what's going to turn out to be. If I get time, I'll talk about this. With what will turn out to be, and I say this with no intent to exaggerate, maybe the greatest shakedown of money from the United States and other developed countries in the world that the world has ever seen. But all that coming up as time permits. But first up this morning, let's talk about this settlement. Frontier Communications is going to pay $160 million in this settlement for what the Attorney General, Patrick Marcy, says is slower than promised internet speeds. Now, $150 million of that is for additional work that Frontier is going to do. $10 million will go to customers to settle the complaints about the internet speed. Again, there are different takes on this settlement. We'll talk to Frontier in a moment, but earlier today I talked with West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Marcy and asked him about what he said this settlement means that Frontier was or was not doing.
Well, Hoppy, I think many people believe that the Frontier service was slow or did not meet the expectations when they purchased a high-speed internet product. And what this agreement is doing is it's actually going to be investing in to fix the infrastructure. This is very significant for the state because if we can start to get the baseline speeds way up and ultimately connect many more people in West Virginia, that's good for consumers. That's obviously good for the economy as a whole.
Mm-hmm. I'll get more into that in a moment. It's significant, isn't it, though, that Frontier, in entering this agreement, does not concede it did anything wrong, right?
Well, I think sometimes when you're involved in a dispute, this obviously is as a result of an investigation that we've been working on over the last 18 months. And anytime you have a dispute between the state and a company, in order to avoid litigation, you come to an agreement. And obviously both parties give something away in the process. What we've done here, we think, is going to represent a big step forward for consumers. Frontier did work with us in good faith to construct the agreement, so we're pleased with that. But we made a choice that rather than have lengthy litigation that could last 3, 4, 5 years, that it was better to make the investment in the internet infrastructure now. This has never been done out of the Attorney General's office before, and I thought it was critical to take a major step forward so we could start to move forward economically and have a real impact on consumers today. Because, Hoppy, as you know, there's a lot of uncertainty in the courts, and while we feel very good with the issues that we brought to the table, when you can get a $160 million settlement, the single largest independently negotiated settlement in our state's history, you take it and then you move forward, and this will be the first step of a number that you'll likely see our office involved in.
Patrick Morris is with us, West Virginia Attorney General. You point out largest independently negotiated because it was done entirely through your office. The largest would have been the tobacco settlement where outside counsel was used. I think I'm correct about that. But
that is correct.
Okay. So how many customers will get a reduction in their bills, by how much, and how is that determined?
Well, a couple things. First, there's one category of customers, which would be 28,000 individuals who are provisioned at about the 1.5 meg level or lower. They're going to see a reduction in their bills, likely beginning the end of January, from either $29.99 or $19.99 down to $9.99. Then there will be another class of individuals who may not fall in that 28,000 category, where it's unclear what they may be provisioned at right now, and yet they're having real problems getting high-speed internet. The company has indicated that it's going to work with us in good faith in order to not only fix the infrastructure there, but to treat these customers appropriately. So we believe that the immediate consumer relief will apply first to the 28,000 bucket, but separately, there could be many other consumers that receive that benefit in terms of rate relief. And then beyond that, Hoppy, there will literally be many tens of thousands of individuals who are going to see the benefit from the enhanced infrastructure and the added connectivity, because this is going to go a long way forward to connecting many more homes in the state of West Virginia.
Let's drill down on that a little bit, because of the $160 million, $10 million is, as you just talked about, a reduction in monthly bills to certain customers. The $150 million in infrastructure investment, wasn't Frontier planning to do that anyway? Wasn't that on their timetable anyway?
Well, Hoppy, the public announcement that they've had is that they were going to expend $180 million for the Connect America Fund, and this $150 million is on top of that $180 million, and so it's quite significant. And I'm hopeful we're going to see continued numbers even beyond this from Frontier as they remain committed to the state. So these are significant numbers, and obviously none of these numbers had ever been discussed before. So I thought this was a very significant change. And two things, Hoppy. One, it's beyond what's been publicly discussed. And two, the value of this in terms of the investments and the consumer relief will not get passed on to consumers. That was one of the provisions of the agreement, which I thought was important.
Patrick Morrissey's with us, West Virginia Attorney General, on this $160 million settlement with Frontier Communications. And Patrick, I think all this started with the service from Frontier called High Speed Internet Max, which promised a certain high-speed internet access. But the allegation was that the company throttled back internet speeds. Was that your finding? Was that your determination? I want to go back to which is back to my original question. In your opinion, did Frontier not deliver what it promised?
Well, we do not believe that the service met the expectations of the customers, and that's why we pursued the investigation, and ultimately that's why we reached the agreement. I want to be clear, in the agreement, there is no admission, and we worked in good faith with the company in order to resolve these issues. But we had a lot of complaints on these points for the last 18 months, probably about 75 written complaints. But then beyond that, in all of the town halls that I've done across the state, probably half of those we received complaints about the nature of the service and the speed for this category of customer. And so that's what really motivated us. But keep in mind, this is a first step. There may be other developments coming soon which continue to make high-speed internet better in the state of West Virginia.
That's Attorney General Patrick Morrissey, my conversation with him earlier today. Now, it's important to note that there is also civil litigation that began in, I think, 2014 against Frontier. There's an attorney out of Hurricane. His name is Benjamin Sheridan, who was contacted and by several customers. They started civil action. I asked Morrissey about that. He said his action was separate from the civil action, which I believe is still pending. So I put a call out to Sheridan this morning, did not hear back, but I think that's still out there. All right, we're going to get the other side of that story at 10:33 with the Vice President for Frontier, Rich O'Brien. But coming up next, is West Virginia about to get off the judicial hellhole list? House Speaker Tim Armstead is next.
In this season of giving, consider donating your used vehicle to Good News Mountaineer Garage. You'll get the best tax deduction possible and the satisfaction of knowing your donation changed the life of someone in need. Good News Mountaineer Garage repairs donated vehicles and provides them to qualified West Virginia families, giving them access to employment, safe, affordable housing, health care, and other vital necessities, and putting them on the road to economic independence. Call 1-866-GIVE-CAR today for Good News Mountaineer Garage. 866-GIVE-CAR.
As a cyclist, we make choices. We choose which motorcycle manufacturer to buy from. We choose what type of motorcycle we ride. We even choose where and when to ride. We also choose to ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Alcohol is involved in 50% of motorcycle fatalities in West Virginia. That's 1 in 2 drivers who die each year. Don't become a statistic. Ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Presented by the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Governor's Highway Safety and Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Program.
A study from England shows that men spend more time each day looking at themselves than women. Well, believe that study or not, the point is we all want to look our best all the time. Well, the same holds true for businesses. We judge businesses, in fact, by their look. At Pikewood Creative, we produce videos and commercials that make businesses look their very best. And you know what? It improves their business. They get more customers and clients. If you'd like your business to look better, then check us out at pipewoodcreative.com.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
I have a passion for the environment.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
With me because you look so fine that I really want to make you.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC. Usually about this time every year, the American Tort Reform Association comes out with its annual judicial hellhole state ranking. Since 2003, West Virginia's been at or near the top. However, the legislature took a number of steps during the last session, passed 13 different tort reform bills signed into law. A lot of them had bipartisan support. Democratic governors signed them, and they are now law. Should West Virginia come off that list? House Speaker Tim Armstead joins us on Metro News Talkline. Tim, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Isn't it time for West Virginia to be taken off that list? Isn't it time for ATRA, for ATRA to say, okay?
Good morning, Hoppy.
Good morning,
Absolutely.
sir.
I think it's time. We've made significant progress, and I've always said that when you love West Virginia and you want to do what's right for it, you have to look at the good things and the things we need to work on. And this is certainly one of those things that we've needed to work on for several years. And we've had a reputation, some of it obviously not justified, but there are some challenges to our legal climate in West Virginia that we knew needed to be addressed. And so we wanted to put West Virginia in the mainstream of what other states are doing. We wanted to make sure our court system was fair and predictable, and to try to address this reputation we had throughout the nation that I think was hurting us from a job creation standpoint. It was hurting us in terms of the companies that wanted to come in and invest. So I definitely think that we should. We'll have to wait and see the ultimate result. But
How confident are you, Speaker Armstead, that ATRA will in fact take West Virginia off that list?
Well, I feel optimistic. That's going to be their decision. Senator Cole and I went down to Atlanta and went to the meeting, the ATRA meeting, about a month ago, and talked with a number of different people there. And I can tell you the excitement that I felt about what took place in West Virginia there was really encouraging to me. So I think that it's very likely that we will, but that's going to be their decision.
Tim Armstead's with us. House Speaker Tim, what do you say, as you had to do many times during the session, to the trial bar and others who say, well, but you've sacrificed the rights of individuals to have their day in court or to be appropriately compensated for harm?
Well, I guess, in this reaction would be that's baloney. But I'll tell you that, I've practiced law in West Virginia for 25 years now, and I've seen how we stack up with the other states, and I don't think that there is anything at all that we've done that's done anything to take people's rights away. What we've done is made the system more fair to both plaintiffs and defendants, and that's what our goal was. I think that's what the people of West Virginia want. The people made a decision in 2014, and they're going to throw this rhetoric out because they want the legislature back. But because the system as it was, the status quo was good for trial lawyers. It was good for plaintiffs' lawyers. They made a lot of money from it, and they didn't like to see these changes made, but they did not hurt working West Virginians, the citizens of West Virginians. They made our court system fair. And the other thing that I think will be tremendous, if we can get off this list and make the progress, continue the progress that we've made already, I think what you'll see are people will begin to look at West Virginia differently on a national level. Companies that want to expand or invest will look at West Virginia in a new light, and I know they have. I'll tell you, when we were in Atlanta, I got to sit down and talk. There were people from all different companies and different job creators throughout the nation at this meeting. And I got an opportunity to sit down with a representative of Ford Motor Company and to make the case to this person why they should be looking at West Virginia. And that's what we need to do more of. We need to be making the case for why West Virginia is the right place to be, the right place to raise our families. And we had that opportunity to do it. And this, if we in fact do get off this list, then I think that will be one black mark we can put behind us. And when we sit down with anyone looking to invest, we don't have to worry about that part. We can address the other issues.
Let me, real quick, in the last 60 seconds, Tim, the PEI Finance Board, as expected, made changes in the benefit structure at their meeting yesterday, and PEI Director Ted Cheatham said we had no option to raise premiums at this point because of statutory language, and basically said they did what they had to do based on what they have to work with. Your counterpart in the Senate, Bill Cole, is absolutely fuming. He issued a statement saying, I was completely dismayed to learn the PEI Finance Board on Thursday, rather than accepting responsibility that's placed upon them, instead voting unanimously to shift the burden for their failure to rest squarely on the shoulders of the legislature because they passed a resolution asking for an increase in the cigarette tax. Are you as mad as Cole is about what the PEI Finance Board did?
Well,
30 seconds. I'm sorry, 30 seconds.
I'm upset. I'm disappointed, but it's the same old passing the buck that's got us in the same situation we are financially in West Virginia. We're working with the governor's office. We're trying to find solutions to this, but some, including the PEI board and some of the unions, are just trying to throw rocks and put a political spin on it, and that doesn't serve West Virginia well. I am upset about it. We're working on it, and it's going to be a difficult situation, as I've said, but it's something we are having discussions about with the governor's office, trying to solve it rather than use it for political football. House
Speaker Tim Armstead. Tim, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Good to talk with you, Hoppy.
All right, man. Take care. Tweet, Hoppy, this hellhole list is a politics list. If the lobbyists took us off the hellhole list, corporations are now free, says the tweet from Mountaineer. We're going to take a break and be back when we come back. Let's find out what Frontier says about this settlement. There's always two sides to a story. Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia. 10:30, let's get a news update. Check in with the Metro News Radio Network and find out what's happening statewide this hour, all across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Shauna Johnson. It could be this time next year before the deal is finalized, but officials with Dow Chemical and DuPont are today announcing merger plans, what's being called an all-stock merger of equals. The new name of the company, Dow DuPont. After the merger closes, Dow DuPont intends to separate into 3 independent companies dedicated to agriculture, material science, and specialty products. The state's attorney general says a $160 million settlement agreement with Frontier Communications will benefit all of West Virginia.
This agreement's going to be a game changer for the Mountain State.
AG Patrick Morrissey on the settlement that largely includes new investments in internet infrastructure. It comes out of a lawsuit from Frontier customers who claim the company was not delivering on the internet speeds promised. Robert C. Byrd High School in Harrison County is now in its 20th year. Mike King with Metro News affiliate WAJR-FM in Clarksburg tells us more.
The high school was the consolidation of Washington Irving and Roosevelt Wilson high schools and of course named for the late Senator Robert C. Byrd. Leon Paluski was the school's first principal.
We moved in the middle of a school year before the end of the first semester. It really did work out well because all the students left for Christmas break, took all their possessions, all their books and textbooks, and we reconvened at the new school.
An open house was held Thursday. You're listening to Metro News for 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
We all know that girl, the girl with no inside voice, the girl who speaks in text talk, the girl obsessed with cats and videos of cats. Well, that girl is playing Powerball, and she might win. A Powerball jackpot can fund a lot of cat videos, which BTW is not LOL for anyone. So it's up to you to win. For all of us.
Play the West Virginia Lottery's Powerball at your favorite retailer today.
Saturday's Powerball jackpot is an estimated $164 million.
Please play responsibly.
Here's a safe driving message from the West Virginia Department of Transportation. Winter driving in West Virginia can be challenging with snow-covered highways. Please keep in mind posted speed limits are for dry and clear pavement. So when there's ice and snow, take it slow. Keep a winter driving kit in your vehicle, and for a list of items your safety kit should include can be found on our website, transportation.wv.gov. Remember, where there's ice and snow, take it slow and be prepared. West Virginia DOT Division of Highways and the Safety Management Task Force, saving one life at a time.
The forecast says temperatures will make it up into the 70s in parts of West Virginia tomorrow and Sunday. National Weather Service meteorologist Michael Sharnick says conditions will change by Monday, but not by a lot.
We will see a cold front come through on Sunday into Monday. However, behind that front, temperatures are still going to be above average, even though the cold front's coming through.
And he says that could continue for a couple of weeks. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Shawna Johnson.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank member, FDIC. As we told you yesterday at 11:30 and then elaborated on it today with Attorney General Patrick Morrisey, Frontier Communications has agreed to a $160 million settlement for slower than promised internet speeds. That's according to Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. The settlement calls for Frontier to put $150 million into infrastructure improvements throughout West Virginia while reducing monthly customer bills by $10 million over 3 years. Morrisey said the agreement is going to be a game changer for the Mountain State because we're going to be enhancing high-speed internet for tens of thousands of individuals. Let's get the other side of the story from Rich O'Brien, a vice president for Frontier Communications. Rich, good morning. Thanks for coming on Metro News Talkline.
Good morning, Hoppy. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. What's your reaction here?
Well, here's the way I see it, and I don't know if your listeners recall this, but in 2010, Frontier came into West Virginia, and there were a lot of challenges when we came in, and we fought really hard to get into the state. We made some pledges, and we kept those pledges. One of the pledges was that at the time, only 64% of the households in West Virginia had access to broadband. Today, more than 90% have access to broadband. We've invested over $600 million.
I do know that when you came in, it was copper. It was old copper everywhere. So I know it's been a challenge. I understand
It
that.
has.
Go ahead.
No, absolutely, it has been. But we're proud to report that we have over 9,000 miles of fiber in the state today.
Let me ask you specifically, though, that I know, and this may not be specific to the action by the Attorney General, but there was also a separate civil lawsuit that was brought that charged that the high-speed, specifically the high-speed Internet Max, the service called High-Speed Internet Max, did not deliver what was promised. I think that's what the focus has been of the investigation. What is your reaction to the argument, the allegation of contention that the high-speed Internet promised was not delivered?
Well, we deny any wrongdoing in this case, and the civil case we believe is without any merit whatsoever, and I can't comment on that right now. That's being handled in the courts. But for this particular case, our Attorney General, Patrick Morrisey, asked us to come to his office and to address some questions and some concerns that he had. We felt because we're good corporate citizens that we should not only listen to those, but enter into an agreement that proves that we're interested, not just interested in West Virginia, but investing in West Virginia.
Yeah, why not, though, tell if Morrissey's, and I understand because you don't acknowledge any wrongdoing, why not tell Morrissey to go pound salt that you're doing your job?
We don't want to do that. We think that the Mountain State is important to us. We don't think we need to do that. We've already invested $600 million. The business that we're in requires investment, and we'll continue to do that. Working with his office is a great opportunity to get feedback from the citizens and to respond to those concerns that are out there and to put the service where it's needed.
Rich O'Brien's with us, Vice President for Frontier Communications. The part of the settlement, the part that the Attorney General is really trumpeting is that Frontier agrees to put up $150 million into infrastructure improvements. Was Frontier going to do that anyway?
We invest in our network annually. Every year we have investments planned. It's just the nature of our business. But this particular investment is in conjunction with Patrick Morrissey's office. And we're going to work specifically with him and put those investments where they're needed to address the concerns of West Virginia. We're working directly with him.
Okay, so and I think you had $180 million. I don't know all the complexities of it, but the deal with the federal government is coming in with money for improvement. So the 150 is on top of whatever else you were going to do anyway?
That's correct. For the next 6 years, we'll be participating in the Connect America Fund. The Connect America Fund morphed from the Universal Service Fund, which was a fund that was created several years ago to bring landline service to rural parts of America. So the Connect America Fund allows us to invest into the broadband infrastructure. So over the next 6 years, we'll be investing $38 million. So the investment that we're working with Attorney General Morrissey's office is in addition to the Connect America Fund.
Mm-hmm. Rich O'Brien's with us, Vice President for Frontier Communications. Let me ask a really naive question, but it is 2015. I understand the rural nature of West Virginia. I understand that when you all came in, there was a ton of old copper that was left behind. Not a lot of infrastructure improvements have been made for probably a decade or two. I get all that, and you're trying to upgrade to fiber all across the state. But you know as well as I do, Rich, that all anybody wants to know is, wherever they are in West Virginia, is why can't I get the fastest, most efficient, high-speed internet possible? Because it's 2015, and my cousin in Chicago has it, or my friend in Phoenix has it.
Yeah, that's a great question, Hoppy. You know, I've lived in this state all of my life. I've worked for this company for 26 years, and I choose to live in West Virginia. And because of that, I can't get direct flights to the certain locations that I want to go because I've chosen to live here. Therefore, I have to make connections. There are certain sacrifices that I make. Now, we don't believe the state of West Virginia needs to make sacrifices on broadband. Therefore, we're investing in those areas. The point is that we're one of the only companies in West Virginia that provides service to over 96% of West Virginia. So we're not just focused on a metropolitan area. We're covering all of the hollows, the mountains, and all of West Virginia. So we're moving as fast as we can, and we want people to have great internet. Therefore, we're investing.
Is the issue with high speed or the high speed service that you're offering, and maybe this gets down into the weeds a little bit, but that when there is a lot of usage, when there's a lot of strain on the bandwidth, that it's not just you're not using just the equipment or just the lines that Frontier's put in. Aren't you relying them on other services or other providers? And then is that when it becomes problematic? Do I have that right or wrong?
Well, it could be. In our situation, we actually own our own middle mile and our last mile. Therefore, we're using all of our equipment and all of our services, and our 2,000 employees work on that equipment. So we're not subbing that out.
You're not using internet. You're not using internet wholesalers like Sprint or AT&T.
No, we use our own network.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. So as we continue to expand, our plans are to get services up to adequate speeds, and we're trying as fast as we can. Like I said, we came in 5 years ago, and there were 62% of the households that even had access to internet. At that time, the maximum speed was 6 meg. Yeah. Today, we're providing speeds up to 24 meg in some locations.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add? Again, the Attorney General's been all over the place. So anything else you want to add?
No, we just appreciate the partnership that we've had with him, and we look forward to more investments in West Virginia and growing the state. If West Virginia wins, we win.
Rich O'Brien, Vice President for Frontier Communications. Rich, thank you for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Hoppy.
All right, man. All right, we're going to take a break and come back. When we come back, the Shepherd Rams, one game away from the championship of Division II. Coach Monty Cater joins us next. We'll be back.
'Tis the season to start saving. At MVB Bank, it's easy with our new 12-month CD. Start earning 1.15% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of just $1,000. To start your CD savings today, visit our jolly team at any MVB location or call us at 844-MVB-BANK. It's sure to keep you off the naughty list next year. MVB Bank, your financial life made easy. Member FDIC.
Hello?
Susan, I need your help.
Sure, what's up?
I need a contractor, and I don't know how to find a good one.
Oh, that's easy. Go to the Home Builders Association of West Virginia. They have a list of all kinds of contractors.
How do I know if they're good? I don't want just anybody.
Well, do your homework. Are they licensed and insured? Check their references and look at what they've done. Do people like them? And most of all, be sure to get a clear written contract.
Okay, where do I find this association?
Go to hbawv.org.
hbawv.org.
That's it.
Your dreams built by the best. Contact the Home Builders Association of West Virginia for a list of professionals in your area. Go to hbawv.org today. This message brought to you by our marketing partners, Lowe's of North Central West Virginia, Brick Street, 84 Lumber, Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh, ProBuild, SJ Needhawk, Valcon, Wincor, and West Virginia Housing Development Fund. The Home Builders Association of West Virginia. Go to hbawv.org today.
This is Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
We used to think all...
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Talkline on Metro News all across the great state of West Virginia. Hoppy Kercheval with you tomorrow at high noon at Ram Stadium in Shepherdstown. Shepherd Rams, semifinals of the Division II playoffs. They're going to take on Grand Valley State out of, I think they're from near Grand Rapids. Anyway, let's talk to Coach Monty Cater, head coach of the Shepherd Rams. Coach, good morning. Good to talk to you again. How are you?
Well, pretty good. Excited about tomorrow and kind of stunned with what the weather's supposed to be like. But
it's going to be hot. Is it going to be hot?
Yeah. Could be 69, they said, 70 degrees or something on the middle of December.
That's awesome. Hey, Coach, and we've been talking a lot about the advantage of having a home game. You packed the house a week ago. There's going to be a packed house there tomorrow. I wonder, though, I'm just thinking out loud here. Would you rather maybe be on the road because now for a couple weeks everybody's been seeing your players saying, "Man, you guys are great, keep it going." I mean, are there a lot of distractions with having a home game that you'd rather not have, or would you rather be home?
Well, I think we'd rather be home. I know that we have had great crowds, and big crowds are not unusual here, and we're thankful for that, and a great following, and even on the road. But at the same time, probably the only distraction is the fact that this is finals week. And our guys have had to be, a little bit subdued and try to make sure that they understand that's why they're here. Football's a big part of it, but they got to take care of business first, and that includes that classroom.
How did practice go this week? Because coaches always say, "Well, I worried about because we didn't practice well, or we practiced well." You're always tuned into that.
Well, I think we were able to adjust the times a little bit. You had to work around those finals, and there'd be times somebody had to come in a little bit late, or you'd have to go, a little bit earlier. But all in all, I think it was a good week of practice, and we're going to get one of our good players back, and that part of it's going to be, that's certainly going to be welcome too. So I don't think a lot of things have changed. I think once you get this late in the season, there's a rhythm to practice and the things that you're going to do on certain days that, while it might to some be boring, if it's Wednesday, this is the things that we're going to be working on, offense, defense, and things like that. And our guys are comfortable with that.
Coach Monte Cater's with us from the Shepherd Rams Division II semifinals tomorrow at noon in a game that will have the audio stream at WVMetroNews.com. I think ESPN has the TV, but audio stream will be at WVMetroNews.com. What do you see on film from Grand Valley State, one of the premier D2 programs in the country? What do you see on film from them?
Well, you're right. Traditionally, that's probably the strongest in terms of numbers of opportunities. I know when I was on the national committee, they won, I think, 2 national championships down in Alabama. It'll be the best team that we've played since I've been here. So that might be is the best compliment I can give them. They got an All-American defensive end that's destined to continue to play after college, and they do a lot of things well. I know they lost their starting tailback, and he was a big part of what they do, but they're deep, and it's like anybody else. If you've got that depth and that next guy can step in, sometimes you almost gain a little bit. But they are really, really good, and we're going to have to be able to play well. We're going to have to not make mistakes and all the things you're playing for in each game, but you get each step you take a little bit further, that team you're going to be playing is a little bit better, and there's no doubt this is the best team we've played.
Yeah, I think the guy you're talking about, their defensive player, is Matt Judd, Judon. Matt Judd. I don't know what number he wears, but he was a Gene Upshaw Award winner. Number 9? Yeah, you know.
We know who it is.
What do you do? I mean, do you have to is he one of those guys you have to count for him every play to keep him off Jeff Ziemba's back?
Well, we are going to have to do that, and whether you get him a little bit of help with a tight end or a back and try to chip and stuff like that. But it's not like the rest of those guys aren't any good either. Yeah. So you can't just focus completely on one, but you are going to have to account for him, and he is a really, really good player. But, again, that whole group is pretty good. They have given up some points, but, boy, they put a lot of pressure on you, have gotten a lot of turnovers and sacks.
Yeah. Coach Monte Cater's with us from the Shepherd Rams. Jeff Ziemba, the quarterback, he's been playing pretty well, right? All season, but he's really stepped up here in the playoffs for you.
Well, he has. He's had a great year, and it's great to see him get some recognition, but he's also been under pressure and stuff like that. Both these teams, IUP and Slippery Rock, were good defenses too, and we've given up a few sacks, and that's one of the things that does concern you, as we have alluded to with their defense and the defensive end, but we've got to do a better job of trying to protect him. If he has time, he's got great pocket presence too, but we've got to give him some time to find some of those guys. We have good people to throw to, we have good people to hand the ball off to, but that's all starts up front.
Coach Monte Cater of the Shepherd Rams, D2 playoffs semifinals tomorrow against Grand Valley State. Coach, you've been the coach there since 1987. I saw a quote that you said this Grand Valley State team was the best team you'd ever seen. I thought, wait a minute, that's coach speak. You've been around since 19. You're not going to say this is the best team you ever saw. Come on now.
It's probably going to be the best team that we've played since I've been here. The things that they've done, and they're playing their best football now. They lost 2 games and have been able to come back and beat both of those teams that beat them early in the season, beat both of them in the playoffs. So they're on a great run, and have an awful lot of confidence, and and they've played 4 straight on the road. This will be the 4th straight game they've played on the road. So even that's not going to be different for them. They're kind of used to that.
Yeah, I saw their coach being quoted saying, because you would, fourth game on the road, they're like, well, so what? I mean, they went on the road and they kind of exercised some of their demons in those road games from the early season losses.
Yeah. But, I think, too, there's a rhythm to that. But I hope, maybe they're sleeping on lumpy beds and, not going to be great food or whatever. But you mentioned earlier, yeah, we would rather be at home. There's some comfort in that of, sleeping in the same place and having an opportunity to eat food and stuff like that they're used to. So, this is no place else we would rather be than home.
Yeah. Did you change any? I mean, as you say, you fall into a routine, a pattern. And you had finals this week you had to account for. But other than that, is it just routine? You try to keep everything the same. You're not trying to get people too high or anything like that. You're not giving big speeches every day about it, or.
No, you're right. And a lot of people would do that. I think even with some of the youth, and we are a relatively young football team. Well, I shouldn't say relatively. We are a young football team, but I think there's a rhythm to what we're doing too, and I think you don't want to go ahead and get all fired up on Tuesday, right, and then you got to top that on Wednesday. I think our guys are in even keel, and our staff has done a great job of preparing them like they always do. I mean, it's going to be tougher, obviously, but at the same time, how we prepare and the time that we put in and what we do on certain days, try to keep that pretty much in a routine.
Yeah. Coach, I know the state of West Virginia is proud of you. We're very excited about the game tomorrow. We know the house is going to be packed there at Rams Stadium. I think ESPN's broadcasting game on television. We will have the live audio stream that will broadcast tomorrow. So everybody will be able to follow the Rams tomorrow, whether they're at the stadium, listening on the radio, listening on the website, or watching on television. So we wish you great success tomorrow. Good luck.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you for having me on this morning.
All right. Thank you very much. Coach Monty Cater. They're right there, man. Right there, one more, and they're in the championship game. The Mountain East Conference has had a heck of a year. They've had 3 teams advance to the NCAA semifinals just this fall alone. Charleston's men's soccer team, Shepherd football, the Rams, and Wheeling Jesuit volleyball. In fact, Wheeling Jesuit is playing tonight and will try to advance to the national championship. So the Wheeling Jesuit volleyball team, which somebody gave me a heads up earlier this, I got a call on Steam Release. Why aren't you following Wheeling Jesuit volleyball? I don't know. I can't keep up with everything. They're great. Well, they are, and they are playing tonight and will try to advance to their national championship game. So it's been a great year for the Mountain East Conference, and MetroNews is happy to have its affiliation with MEC. Take a break and be back. 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK. Email Talkline at WVMetroNews.com. Tweet me at Hoppy Kercheval. Text me 304-TALK-304. Again, we will broadcast the play-by-play of that game tomorrow. Is Travis doing the game? Travis Jones and Rasheed Marshall, noon at WVMetroNews.com. You can listen there. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Hunger, injustice, poverty. We see it, but what can we really do? Where is the hope? The hope is in you, and Catholic Charities West Virginia can help you extend hope, grace, and mercy to the most vulnerable in our communities. They're calling all people of goodwill to serve our brothers and sisters mired in poverty, burdened with disease and injustice. Join with Catholic Charities West Virginia and change a world. Visit CatholicCharitiesWV.org because the hope is in you. You feel a strong desire to help hurting children and families in West Virginia, but you think,
what could I do?
Burlington United Methodist Family Services has a place for everyone. Folks to help with office duties in their facilities across the state. Professional and business people to help teach youth about their professions. Volunteers for their annual pumpkin and apple harvest festivals. And of course, donations of all kinds. What can you do? Search your heart and go to BUMFS.org today. BUMFS.org.
For generations, West Virginia hospitals have cared for our communities in every way, carrying the promise of help, hope, and healing. Just as our families have grown, so have our hospitals, advancing programs to improve the health of all West Virginians. They're the place you turn in your time of need for healing, compassion, and professional care. West Virginia hospitals, generations of community growth for generations to come. A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association online at WVHA.org.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
We used to think all lung cancer was this.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Did you know that West Virginia has some of the best stargazing spots in the country? Beginning at dusk this Saturday, the Green Bank Telescope staff will treat visitors to views of the night sky through optical telescopes. Don't worry about bad weather. The portable planetarium will be open for a stellar presentation. For more out-of-this-world fun, visit go2wv.com or call 1-800-255-5982, 1-800-255-5982, or visit go2WV. Getting a lot of emails about Frontier, about internet service, and I know that Frontier gets a lot of complaints about internet service, and I know, and I've never quite been able to get to the bottom of it all. I mean, I know Frontier will talk about the millions of dollars in improvements they're doing, and then at the same time, people say, well, I can't get DSL, I can't get high speed, or I got it, but it's not up to snuff. And so I've never been able to completely get my hands around the story. I do know this, just as Rich O'Brien said, is that West Virginia, when they got into trying to deliver high speed in West Virginia, faced a tremendous obstacle because, as he said, that there was just a lot of copper. I mean, the old technology all over the place that had not been worked on for a long time, and you got to replace all that with fiber. And in some cases, if somebody wants high speed and there's just 8 or 10 customers up the hollow or down the country road, I mean, that takes time and money. So, but it's essential that we get high speed up to snuff in West Virginia. We got a break. When we come back, we're going to go, well, it might be one of the more unusual candidate declaration announcements we've ever had here on MetroNews Talkline, but that's coming your way in 6 minutes. This is Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Talkline on the Metro News Radio Network in and around the great state. Hoppy Kercheval with you, Joe Nelson, our producer. Matt Sunday handling the video stream. You can watch us at wvmetronews.com on the Metro News channel. The coming up steam release at 11:33, your chance to vent and get off your chest. I got some other things I want to talk about this half hour. But first up, let's go live via Skype to Kabul, Afghanistan to talk with Mac Warner. Mac Warner has been working in Afghanistan doing rule of law work with the Afghan justice sector. Mac Warner is a 23-year military veteran. Got 2 master's degrees in law. He has a JD from WVU. I went to West Point, WVU Law School, and he is a career military man, and now he's been in Afghanistan, and he joins us via Skype. Mac, are you there?
I am, Hoppy.
Thanks for coming on. Connection not too bad, all things considered. Before I ask for the political news, when we were chatting this morning via Skype, and then I looked up at CNN and saw there'd been an explosion and gunfire in Kabul, and I thought, I got a man there. I got Warner there in Kabul. What happened this morning? Do you know?
Yes, actually, it's this evening over here. We're about 9.5 hours ahead of you. We heard a large explosion about the time I was heading over to the dining facility, followed by sporadic gunfire. And the news report that folks I'm hearing through our Afghan connections is that there was an attack on the either the Spanish embassy or the guest house adjacent to the Spanish embassy. And apparently there's some insurgents still in there holed up, and the fighting continues as we speak.
Really? Is this kind of activity common? We don't hear much from your neck of the woods these days. Is it common?
Actually, it is. This happens rather frequently. Some weeks we have several attacks, then we'll go a couple of weeks without it. But you have 3 or 4 a month, I'd say.
Wow. Mac Warner is with us. He's in Kabul, Afghanistan. And I know that we're going to talk about your political plans. I just touched on what you're doing there, and I think there are some issues as to whether or not you can talk much about that. But can you give us a general idea of what you are doing or have been doing in Kabul?
Well, I am somewhat limited, but I've been doing rule of law work with the Justice Ministry. So that's the Supreme Court, the Attorney General's Office, the Ministry of Justice. And then we always have a special emphasis on women and the treatment, the unfair treatment they've had here in Afghanistan. So we work with the Ministry of Women's Affairs as well. So it's across the board working with all of those ministries. I manage an office of about 100 international and Afghan attorneys and advisors, and we have them embedded in the ministries. And that's the type of work we're doing. Okay.
Mac Warner is with us, an attorney, and he's also in the military, and he's in Afghanistan doing rule of law work there. So you also today have a political announcement. Is that correct? And please make it.
I do. Actually, what happened, Hopper, is back in September, I had a nice group of veterans that pulled a spontaneous rally down there at the Veterans Memorial on the Capitol grounds. And they called for me to come back and run for Secretary of State. They had a Bring Back Mac campaign, actually. And that really caught my attention, to see the number of veterans and as well as legislators who attended that session. And that captured my attention. And so today I'm answering that call. And I turned in paperwork here a couple of days ago with the Secretary of State's office to run for Secretary of State.
Why Secretary of State?
Well, Hoppy, the Secretary of State's office, as you know, is a multifaceted operation. They have an administrative law division, a business organizations division, charity division. But one of the most important is the elections division. And the Secretary of State is the chief election officer for the state. And so my career is multifaceted as well. I've been a military officer, a lawyer, a teacher, small business owner. I've managed large offices, and really I've traveled around the world working on broken societies and fixing, attacking corruption and that sort of thing. So I think those experiences have prepared me, ideally, for the Secretary of State job. And I'd like to come home to West Virginia and do for my home state what I've been doing in other countries around the world.
Technical question. Are you a resident of West Virginia?
Absolutely. I live in Morgantown with my lovely wife, Debbie. We've raised 4 children, all of whom are Army officers. And I'd like to make West Virginia a place where they'd all like to return and live and work. I'd like to have a booming economy where they could find jobs, just like so many other citizens in West Virginia who hate to see their kids roll down the highway to North Carolina or other places. And I'd like for us to be able to bring them home, and I'd like to have some grandkids and have them live right there in West Virginia with us.
Mac Warner is with us. He's in Kabul, Afghanistan. He's a military veteran. He's doing rule of law work in Afghanistan. He's a lawyer, and he says he's announcing today that he's running for the Republican nomination for Secretary of State. The current Secretary of State, Natalie Tennant, has put a lot of emphasis on clean elections. She's worked with the Attorney General's office to clean up southern West Virginia. So hasn't a lot of that been done? You want clean elections, as everybody does. Hasn't she been getting that accomplished?
Well, Hoppy, West Virginia is notorious, about as notorious as Chicago, for fraudulent elections. And going back to, obviously, the 1960 campaign was stuff that legends are made of. And, some humorous stories come out of that. And you'd like to think that that's a thing of the past. But, just in August, I saw a column by Don Serber who talked about 3 counties in West Virginia, Lincoln, McDowell, and Mingo, all of which have more registered voters than they do living adults eligible to vote. And to me, that just is a symbol of somebody who's asleep at the wheel. That shouldn't happen in today's world. Fraudulent elections in West Virginia still occur, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And we need somebody who's energetic and enthusiastic about staying after it. One thing that I learned in the military is if you want something done, you've got to inspect it. If you inspect it, then things get done. Tire pressure in vehicles, or proper charge, with your artillery pieces and so forth. You inspect it, and those things get moved to proper places so it can be used to put steel on target. Well, that's what we need in West Virginia. Is we need somebody inspecting the voter rolls and constantly working to keep those voter rolls clean.
I think that's a responsibility of the county clerks. I'm not sure where we are. I don't remember the Serber piece, but I think that's the responsibility of the county clerks to keep that done. So that might be a county responsibility more than state. I'm just not sure about that. And also, I don't know. Right. And frankly, Mac, believe me. We're always talking when there are election scofflaws here, but I think the last couple elections have been pretty clean, to my knowledge.
Hoppy, I'm glad you raised that point. We've got 55 counties and 55 county clerks that have got a lot of experience, and we need to be listening to them. We need to go out and talk with each and every one. And, there's always been this push to make the elections more accessible by early voting and motor voter laws and that sort of thing. But there's a flip side to that you don't want to go too far in that direction and open up opportunities for fraud. And so just as you want to encourage people to register, when they have the go in for driver's license and so forth, what about a voter ID card that could be taken with the same cameras that you're taking pictures for driver's license? When somebody goes in for a concealed carry permit with the sheriff, or they go to a county courthouse, get that picture taken, get a voter ID card, and at the same time work with the county clerks to get them the forms so they can stay up on the national change of address program and compare the rolls of today with the voter rolls and the driver's license rolls and U.S. Postal Service change of address forms, and we can tighten up the voter registration and keep our rolls clean so that people who are dead, who have moved, who are felons, we can get those people off the rolls and reduce the opportunities for voter fraud.
Mac Warner is a Republican who's now announcing for the candidacy for the Republican nomination for Secretary of State in West Virginia. He makes that announcement from Kabul, Afghanistan, where he's doing rule of law work with the Afghan judicial sector there. Mac, when are you coming back to start the campaign?
Well, Hoppy, I can't wait to get home to my wife's loving arms and surrounded by my kids. That's going to be next week. I'll get home for Christmas for just a couple days, and then I have to come back over here and wrap things up. I'll be back in West Virginia on January 6th for good, and I'll begin campaigning full-time at that point.
All right, travel safely, and we'll talk to you soon during this campaign. Thank you for coming on.
Hoppy, thanks so much, and I wish all your listeners a Merry Christmas, and I hope to meet every one of them in 2016.
All right, Mac Warner, first ever announcement for political office coming to you from Kabul, Afghanistan, running for Secretary of State. on with us on Skype this morning. So we got open phones here the rest of the way. Then steam release at 11:33 at 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK. Email talkline at wvmetronews.com. Send me a tweet at Hoppy Kercheval. Text me 304-TALK-304. A couple of things I want to mention here before the break. I want to go back to this. One is that yesterday, the PEIA Finance Board, as expected, approved the changes to the benefit structure because of a $120 million hole in PEIA, the Public Employee Insurance Plan for current state employees and retirees. And also there's a lot of municipal employees, county employees on that. So they approved a $500 increase for state workers on an individual plan, $1,000 for those with the family plan. That's in the deductible. The out-of-pocket maximums are going up too, up $1,500 for one person, $3,000 for a family. The one that really seemed to get people the most was, and by the way, there's a premium increase for retirees as well. The one that seemed to really concern a lot of people was the copay for drugs for preferred brand prescription drugs. Now, the copay currently is $25. That's not bad. Not bad. Drugs are so expensive, and the copay is $25 for preferred brand prescription drugs. But under the new plan, it's going to be 30% of the cost of the prescription. Well, some of these prescriptions cost hundreds of dollars. So conceivably, you'd go in and instead of $25, it'd be $100, $75, whatever, depending on the price of the drug. So there's a lot of people concerned about that. Now, Ted Cheatham, executive director of PEI, said that might hurt some people, but not most. But here's where the politics of this come in, is that the PEI Finance Board, which has Ted Cheatham's the executive director of it, and you have labor people on it, and they look at the numbers and they say, we have to do this because this is the money coming in and this is the money going out. And you have to have an 80-20 split, and you can't change that. The PEI Finance Board cannot change the premiums of the active employees. That has to be done legislatively. And then the PEI Finance Board took the step, I think they took the step of, and this may have been what caused the dust up, proposed increasing the cigarette tax to help offset the cost or the changes to PEIA. Well, that really, and there were things said, things done where the PEI Finance Board was suggesting that we've done all we can do, and this is really now a legislative issue, and Governor Tomlin, and if they want to put more money into PEIA, then they're going to have to do that, and they could raise the cigarette tax. These are the numbers we have. That's what we have to deal with. Well, this really ticked off Senate President and Republican gubernatorial candidate Bill Cole. Here's what Cole said in a prepared statement. Quote, I was completely dismayed to learn that the Public Employees Insurance Agency Finance Board on Thursday, rather than accept the responsibility that is placed upon them as members, instead voted unanimously to shift the burden for their failure to rest squarely upon the shoulders of the legislature. Cole went on to say, we don't walk away from tough problems in the legislature, and we want to make this abundantly clear. West Virginia's taxpayers will not be left to hold the bag for the bad decisions and poor management of the political status quo, including the PEI Finance Board. Unfortunately, Cole went on to say, the board has done little to remedy this situation and willfully ignored this festering problem for the last 5 years, which has now reached critical mass. Its inaction, talking about the board, and spending down of its reserves while pretending this issue would magically repair itself is directly responsible for the situation we find ourselves in today. The legislature stands committed to work with the governor, but the governor needs to offer a workable solution that doesn't raise taxes on families and is based on fiscal responsibility. The legislature remains committed to being a good steward of the state's taxpayer dollars. That's clearly more than can be said for the PEIA Finance Board. So an angry response by Bill Cole to the PEIA Finance Board. Now, that's a tone you don't hear every day in these kinds of issues, laying it right back on the PEI Finance Board. And I think that Cole and the legislature are getting weary of public meetings where people say, it's like, well, the legislature needs to do something. In fact, Cole could have dumped on the governor more than he did, because remember, the budget is proposed by the governor. The governor proposes the budget, the legislature makes alterations, but the governor proposes the spending plan. And the initial amount that is put into PEIA comes from the governor. And that has not changed for the last 5 years because of the tight budget. So one could argue that if you wanted to lessen the burden on public employees in West Virginia, on PEIA, it in fact starts with the governor and putting more, if they can afford it or find the money or if they want to, in the budget for PEIA, but they haven't for the last 4 or 5 years. So we got ourselves a chicken fight here over this. And the question is, because public employees, I think public employees, a lot of them have a legitimate complaint here because there have not been any raises for a lot of public employees. Teachers have gotten some increases. Public employees have really struggled. Now the deductible goes up, the out-of-pocket goes up, the script cost go up, and they're losing ground. I mean, I think they at least want to not lose ground. So it's tough. It's a tough spot they're in. And the question is, will the legislature, will the governor and the legislature, will the governor with the legislature find any more money to put into PEIA to offset these changes? But clearly, you look at that statement, Cole is miffed and thinks they've been unfairly targeted by the PEIA Finance Board. We'll take a break and be back. 1-800-765-8255. Email talkline at wvmetronews.com. Send me a tweet at Hoppy Kercheval. Text me 304-TALK-304. Also, Oliver Luck puts foot in mouth. We'll talk about that and what's really happening at the climate talks. And I haven't even touched on Trump. Haven't even touched on it. And I know it was hot yesterday on the show. We can continue that. So your comments on Trump, welcome as well.
West Virginia has balanced its budget on the back of the coal industry ever since we became a state 150 years ago. Historically, the coal industry and coal-fired electric utilities have accounted for over 60% of all business taxes, while high-energy wages contribute a disproportionate share of income taxes, and coal severance dollars sustain important programs in all counties. All told, the industry infuses over $26 billion to our state's economy. Coal alone has paid down nearly $1 billion of the state's workers' compensation debt. Consequently, all state businesses have experienced major reductions in workers' comp benefits. The coal industry has always supported our people and our economy, but it's under attack from the Obama administration and the EPA. It's fighting to survive. Coal taxes in West Virginia are higher than our surrounding states. We're losing coal markets to our neighbors. Let's get our mines and coal miners working again. Support a reduced tax rate for mining, paid for by West Virginia Coal Association.
Look around your holiday table this year and think, how many faces are missing because they've had to leave home to find good jobs in more technology-driven, economically diverse states? The High Technology Foundation is working to keep young, educated West Virginians here at home by attracting high-tech companies to our state. The High Technology Foundation is helping build stronger West Virginia families by building a stronger West Virginia, because there's no place like home and family for the holidays. Learn more at wvhtf.org.
True to its motto, wild and wonderful, West Virginia is the third most forested state in the country for landmass and has 7 million more forested acres now than 100 years ago. The mountain state is abundantly blessed with valuable renewable forest resources, which naturally regenerate for future generations. Forestry is the basis for over 5,000 separate wood and paper products, creating millions of dollars in state revenue from business income and property taxes. A message from the West Virginia Forestry Association, WVFA.org.
This is Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Talkline on MetroNews. I have 2 minutes before I have to turn things over to you for steam release. I got to get a couple quick shots in here. Oliver Luck used to be AD at WVU, you might recall now, NCAA vice president. He was on a panel in New York, and they were talking about whether, with coaches making all this money, should there be an open market for student athletes. And I thought at one time he was for that, but his argument against it, he said, was, well, coaches are adults. And everybody went, excuse me? Yeah, coaches are adults. That's why, and the players are. And everybody kind of went, well, that's weird. So we had to issue a clarification. Said, I probably misspoke some. Well, so he got in hot water by suggesting that student athletes at colleges and universities should not be paid because they're children. So we got in a jam over that. Ben Carson, now, and the Republican Party is coming apart at the seams. Ben Carson now today blasted the RNC following a Washington Post report that nearly 24 establishment party figures were prepping for a potential brokered convention as Donald Trump continues to lead most polls. Reince Priebus held a big dinner it was a quiet dinner in Washington, D.C. with key people, and they're talking about a possible brokered convention because they're worried about Donald Trump. And Ben Carson's flipped out about that, and Carson rejected that approach. He said he might run as an independent. So the Republican Party in deep doo-doo. Now, also, I don't have time for this. I wish I did. I don't have time. But it's an AP report about how much money is going to be pledged to countries around the world to mitigate climate change. It is billions and billions and billions of dollars, and there's going to be virtually no effective and efficient accounting of how that money is spent. It's going to be the greatest, trust me, it's going to be the greatest extortion in the history of civilization is going to occur with this deal. We got a break. Steam release is next. 1-800-765-8255. Email your Steam Talkline at wvmetronews.com. You can see it. Imagine 1 million Solyndras. Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia. It's 11:30. Let's get a news update. Check in with the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening statewide this hour all across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Shauna Johnson. Harsh words from Senate President and Republican gubernatorial candidate Bill Cole now that members of the Public Employees Insurance Agency's Finance Board have approved benefit reductions for state workers and retirees set to take effect in July. In a statement, Cole says inaction from the board and the spending down of its reserves while, quote, pretending this issue would magically repair itself is the reason for the $120 million funding hole. PEIA Director Ted Cheatham says the Finance Board did what it had to do.
We had no option to raise premiums at this point because of the statutory language saying that the employer pays 80%, the employee pays 20% of premiums. And since the state is already at the 80% level, and they're not putting any additional funding, I can't raise the employees' premium, or they'd be paying more than their required 20%.
The board is asking the legislature to look at putting money from the tobacco tax into PEIA. West Virginia still leads the nation in drug deaths in the latest health rankings from the United Health Foundation and comes in not much higher for overall health. Dr. Rhonda Randall with the numbers.
West Virginia ranked 47th this year out of 50 states. That's a decrease by 3 points from the prior report.
She says drug use and obesity are pulling down West Virginia's numbers. Shepherd hosts Grand Valley State in the semifinal round of the NCAA Division II playoffs tomorrow in Shepherdstown. Kickoff set for noon. You're listening to Metro News for 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
There are things that make our lives easier.
You know, locking shoelaces, pizza scissors, remote control mops, one-hand bottle cap openers, and the Know Before You Go driving app.
It's free travel information on West Virginia highways, traffic congestion, work zones, road conditions, information that can make your travel easier. Log on to WV511.org or download the WV511 Drive Safe app.
Know Before You Go. It'll make your life easier.
Hello, this is Governor Earl Ray Tomblin. If you or a loved one is struggling with substance abuse, you can find help and hope in West Virginia. Call 1-844-HELP-4WV. Call line counselors stand ready to connect you with the services you need. Begin the road to recovery today. Call 1-844-HELP-4WV or visit help4wv.com.
It's graduation time at some West Virginia colleges and universities. Among the ceremonies planned for tomorrow, those at West Liberty University, Marshall University, and West Virginia State University. A senior strategic policy advisor with AARP says some 250,000 people in West Virginia don't have retirement plans through work. And David John says because of that, most of them are not saving anything for retirement. Read more from him at WVMetroNews.com. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Shauna Johnson.
To get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Folks, I know the steam builds up. I understand it. I get it. And I know that you need to release the steam. And this is an important service we provide so you can get it off your chest. I mean, don't take it out on the coworker. First of all, your coworker doesn't really want to hear it. You can't do it to the boss, and if you're the boss, don't berate the underling with your steam. Come on. And if you're driving down the road and you're doing it just in the car, they don't get any effect. So here is your opportunity to call Talkline at 1-800-765-8255 or email your steam. I'll try to read it as best I can. Talkline at WVMetroNews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text your steam, 304-TALK-304. What is it that you must steam about or get off your chest? Could be about this whole Trump thing all week that you've been dying to say. And I know many of you have. We had yesterday, could not get everybody in. So if you want to get your Trump on one way or another, that's fine. PEIA, that's fine. Whatever it is. Or about me or this program. And as per the guidelines that I drew up, I can't respond. I have to take it. And that's the whole point. So let's have better mental health through steam release today at 1-800-765-8255. Hi, Keith. You're first up. It's a prime spot. Get your steam on.
Oh, hi, Hoppy.
Yes, sir.
I want to make a statement, then a suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm against Obamacare because mainly these Republicans forced him to take the public option off the table. And he didn't intend to do it eventually. Mainly, they want to force people to patronize their vampiristic big business medical buddies so that they can bleed the people dry. Now, along with that, what they're going to do, I think, is force compliance by either taking income tax, maybe seizing bank accounts, or even putting a lien against homes, or maybe even forcing it before you can get a driver's license. Now, my suggestion is for you to do a radio program with experts who can warn us of these dangers, as well as the actions we can take to defend ourselves, whether forming independent medical co-ops, taking our money out the bank, or whatever political action or personal or collective action we got to take.
Keith, you got your steam on. You'll have a great weekend. Hi, Bob in Webster County. What's your steam, Bob?
Yes, sir. If someone wants to know what a Christian believes, he goes to the Bible. If someone wants to know what Muslims believe concerning Christians, he should go to the Koran, which I did. I would like to read 4 quick sentences from the Koran, different places. One says, "So engage in war with them for the sake of Allah. So seize them and kill them wherever you find them. Do not take from them as friends or helpers. Strike terror into your enemy of Allah and your enemy and others." It also says, "O you who have believed, engage in war against infidels." That's Christians and Jews.
You got it, Bob. You got your steam on. Let's go to George. Hey, George, what's your steam? Boy, people got to turn their radio down. Joe, ask folks to please turn their radio down for the benefit of the listening audience. Hi, Tom. Steam release. What's your steam, Tom?
Hey, Hoppy. Last Friday, there was a fellow that was on steam release, and he claimed to be an atheist, and he was trying to educate us about the Bible. Well, it's very obvious that atheist has never read the New Testament, because in the New Testament, Jesus says to love everyone, including your enemy. So, that so-called atheist needs to really be educated concerning the New Testament, and he needs to know that God loves him.
Thank you, Tom. Have a great weekend. Hello, Robert. What's your steam?
Yes, good morning, Hop.
Morning.
If you were just woke up from a coma this week and turned on the news, you'd have thought that Donald Trump had pulled the trigger in San Bernardino, California. And in the big scheme of things, haven't the ghettos, big American city ghettos and the white trash ghettos of America, haven't they been internment camps to failed democratic policies for years? I think so. Have a good day, Hop.
Robert, we appreciate it. Let's go to Matt in Cross Lanes. Hi, Matt. What's your steam?
My steam is that I want to thank all these Republicans and these crazy-thinking people that actually think that Donald Trump is the answer, because he's guaranteeing a Democratic victory next fall. Thank you very much.
You got it. Tweet steam. I haven't checked my text. Tweet steam. Mountaineer says, Hoppy, Facebook is running amok with you can't say happy holidays, you must say Merry Christmas, or you are an infidel. WA, tweet steam. I missed Talkline all week and feel pretty good about the world. Coincidence? Isaac, tweet steam. West Virginia GOP is in charge now. West Virginia voters aren't looking for excuses. They want solutions. Time to fix it in 16. That's a tweet from Delegate Isaac Spanagle. A tweet from Delegate Kelly Sabonia. West Virginia voters kept same failed Democratic leadership for 83 years. GOP has had only a 60-day session. PEIA can't lay the mess at the GOP's feet. Wes's tweets team. I've been to Afghanistan, 2004 to 2005. Whatever I left there, they can keep. I'm not coming back for it. Where am I? Doug in Putnam County. Hey, Doug, what's your steam?
Is Delegate Michael Moffitt. How are you?
Hey, how are you, sir?
Great, Hoppy.
Why
This
does it say
PEIA
Doug?
thing is ridiculous. You look at the board, they have 9 members, and most of them are already expired terms. The whole thing's being ignored for so long. Josh Swart has been focused on his honest West Virginians pack, smearing Republicans, and has not been focused on the PEIA issue. It's been 5 years that they've allowed this train to go into a brick wall and done nothing to fix this, nothing to address it. We have been in charge for less than a year, and we will do something about it. There's no way that they can afford the $120 million they want or the recurring $60 million a year extra. It's not fair to the employees. It's not fair to the teachers, the highway workers, and all those that are on it. But this train has been going into this wall for 5 years, and these guys have failed at their duty.
Got it. Michael, you got your steam on. Delegate Michael Moffitt. A lot of delegate steam today. Email steam. This is from Gene Hoppy. Our government is run so incompetent. Trump, along with Cheryl Atkinson on her new show, Full Measure. I got to move this around. Hang on a second. On her new show, Full Measure, tells us our warplanes have conducted 7,319 sorties over Iraq and Syria, while only 1,859 flights, 25.4%, had at least one weapons release. Matthew, steam release. Matt says, ISIS is to Islam what the KKK is to Christianity. Ignorance is ignorance. Another one here. Carl Steam. Hoppy, Senator Capito's high praise for the Every Student Succeeds Act is sad. The act is just another con job to fool the taxpayers. We're going to take a break and come back. More steam release coming up. 1-800-765-8255. Email talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet your steam at Hoppy Kercheval. Text your steam 304-TALK-304. Another heavy steam dose coming up.
We're in the spirit of giving at MVB Bank this year, and our gift to you includes awesome CD products at great rates, like our 58-month 2.12 annual percentage yield CD. You can start saving today with a minimum deposit of just $1,000. Hurry in now and avoid the holiday rush. This is a present that keeps on earning year after year. MVB Bank, your financial life made easy. Member FDIC. Visit us at mvbbanking.com.
It's here, the year-end blockbuster sales event at your Central West Virginia Jeep Giant. Northside Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram trucks in Somersville. Inventory is huge, and so are the savings. Come on in now for this deal. A 2016 Jeep Cherokee Latitude 4x4 cold weather group. Yep, you're going to need it. Satellite radio. Retail price $29,230. Blockbuster price $24,999. You save over $4,200. It's only the beginning. See us in person or online at northsidewv.com.
Is your business or organization struggling when it comes time to tell your story? After all, your story is what makes you unique. Your story is what makes potential clients and customers draw themselves to you. Unfortunately, oftentimes, those stories aren't told and businesses and organizations remain mired in mediocrity. At Pikewood Creative, we produce videos and commercials in a way that make people take notice. If you need some visual help, then visit us at pikewoodcreative.com.
You're listening to Talkline on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
If you want to be an adoptive parent, it doesn't...
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank member, FDIC. Did you know that West Virginia has some of the best stargazing spots in the country? Beginning at dusk this Saturday, the Green Bank Telescope will treat visitors to views of the night sky through optical telescopes. Don't worry about bad weather. The portable planetarium will be open for a stellar presentation. For more information, for Out of the World fun, visit go2wv.com, go2wv.com, or call 800-255-5982. Stargazing at Green Bank Telescope starting this Saturday at dusk. Back to steam release and George. Hey, George, go ahead. What's your steam?
Hey, Hoppy, how are you?
Great. Glad you called.
I got it. Not a lot of steam, just a little bit.
Okay.
Steam releases for your callers, not for politicians. You had a AJ Mansion on last week. Took up half the time. That's not playing by the rules. Give more opportunity for your callers to call in and release steam. And another thing, I think Donald Trump is exactly right what he's saying. He's saying what people are scared to say, and he has the guts to say it. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, sir. And as you know, if there's criticism of me, I can't respond. Hey, Laura in Bridgeport, what's your steam?
Good morning, Hoppy.
Good morning.
My steam's about the Every Student Succeeds Act. I'd just like to say it's absolutely disingenuous for Senator Capito and Congressman McKinley to say that this gives any control back to the local government. Everything is tied back to obtaining the federal money. Standards still have to be approved by the Fed. Testing participation still has to be at 95%. Parents and students will be faced with opposition if they decide they don't want their children to participate in these tests. And not to mention that they still will take weeks to complete within schools. Instructional time lost by public school students to be child labor for the state to receive back tax money in the form of Title I money. This is a shell game that they're playing with us. Atrocious.
Got it. You got your steam on. You'll have a good weekend, I hope. Hi, Fred and Beckley. What's your steam?
Hobby, I just want to tell you how much Obama needs to be impeached, especially now that I hear he's going to be wasting billions of dollars on this global warming stuff. And also I want to tell you that I think that this man is wrong, completely wrong about just stopping the Muslims from coming into the country, immigration-wise. I think everybody should be stopped from coming into the country. No more immigration, period, for at least 5 years. We need to get this all sorted out.
Thank you, sir. Got your steam. And Mark in South Charleston. What's your steam, Mark?
Well, Hoppy, Michael Moffett talked about PEIA. The way to more funding is more jobs, and one of the ways to more funding is to clean up the courts, which Michael Moffett refuses to do. Brett Benjamin is paid for by Don Blankenship. Now he wants taxpayers' money. That son of a Blankenship needs to be voted out of office, and we need to impeach all of them and clean up our courts.
You got it. Steam release. And Jim Bob and Beckley. Yes, sir. What's your steam?
Hoppy.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Fine.
I'm wondering why you're against the average West Virginian. You rail against clean air, clean water, pristine mountains. You're against minimum wage. You're against living wage. You're against prevailing wage for skilled workers. You brown-nose these crooked politicians, and then you get on here and talk about the free marketplace of ideas, and then you turn around and refuse a paid ad that is a different opinion than yours, okay? So, once you get down to South Carolina, where you're the CEO of a corporation down there.
Got it. Let's go to Jim. Hi, Jim. What's your steam?
Yeah, Hoppy. I just wonder, when I'm out shopping between now and Christmas, who I should be worried most about. West Virginia doesn't seem to have hardly any Muslims, but I just heard on the station that our drug problem's one of the worst in the nation. So, actually, who is it that I should be worried about, or my family, when I go out in West Virginia?
Got it, Jim. Steam release. And Ed. Hello, Ed in Sago. What's your steam, Ed?
Hoppy, you know what? I'm tired of hearing you on Saturdays and then you not being on the radio longer than 2 hours every day. You should be on the radio from 10 o'clock until 3.
Okay. Let me take a break and be back. 1-800-765-8255. Email talkline@wvmetronews.com. Here in West Virginia, there are two great jackpot games you can play from the West Virginia Lottery. Powerball has drawings on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Mega Millions has drawings on Tuesdays and Fridays. The Powerball jackpot is $164 million. The Mega Millions jackpot is $66 million. Please play responsibly. Let's take a break and come back. Let's finish strong. Couple of open lines. Let's have a strong finish to Steam Release when we return.
Hello, I'm your neighbor.
Your sister.
Your son.
Your granddaughter.
I was broken, hungry.
Helpless and hopeless.
Catholic Charities reached out to me in hope, faith, and love.
They were there in my time of need, and they'll be there for you.
No matter how old or young you are, Catholic Charities of West Virginia offers hope, help, and love for all ages. Visit CatholicCharitiesWV.org and find your hope today. Catholic Charities West Virginia is an equal opportunity employer and service provider. Changing lives by preventing harm and providing hope and healing to hurting children and families. Burlington United Methodist Family Services has led the way in West Virginia for over 100 years, preventing harm by helping place endangered children in safe, caring foster homes, providing hope by counseling birth parents in their choice to parent or make an adoption plan, and helping adoptive parents in their quest for a child. Go to bumfs.org to see how Burlington United Methodist Family Services is truly changing lives.
This is Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Council.
Here in West Virginia, there are two great jackpot games you can play from the West Virginia Lottery. Powerball has drawings on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Mega Millions has drawings on Tuesdays and Fridays. The Powerball jackpot is $164 million. Mega Millions jackpot, $66 million. Please play responsibly. Let's go to Dan. Hi, Dan. What's your steam?
Those terrorists are following the commands of Islam. KK activists are violating the commands of Christ. There is a difference. Even the atheists ought to see this.
Got it, sir. Tech Steam. Hoppy, I'm still saying fire Holgerson. Tech Steam. Hoppy, global warming, climate change is a hoax. Tech Steam. It's not fair that a small group of smokers should be the only ones penalized for the incompetence of the PEIA. And number 2, Trump is not doing anything that Jimmy Carter didn't do during the Iranian crisis. Tech Steam, we should not accept any refugees from anywhere, no matter what they believe, until we first solve the homeless problem. and our own country, mainly children and vets. Text team, the Bible calls for the death of non-believers, just as the Quran does. All this arguing over whose invisible friend is stronger is ridiculous. Text team, Hoppy, politics, religion, and social media have turned this country into Chicken Little. Text team, Hoppy, let's not forget how Bill got into office. Third-party candidate was in the race. Trump helped the Clintons before. I think Trump is still trying to help the Clintons. Pierre in Wheeling. Hi, Pierre. Welcome.
Hey, Hop.
Hi.
Thank you.
Yes.
My steam is with the billionaires or people who are damn near billionaires who every day of their lives try very hard to spend at least as possible at other people's expense. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the Pittsburgh Pirate fans are doomed as long as the Nutting family are the ones writing the check.
Oh, he's mad. Yeah, a lot of people dusted up over a couple of moves or non-moves the Pirates have taken. Hi, Bill in Elkins. Bill, what's your steam?
Yeah, Hobby, you're doing a good job. I think that somebody needs to put these subjects out there for discussion. But the part of it that I would like to hear more of is the centerpiece of the Obama foreign policy is the destruction of the Syrian government, not necessarily ISIS, but he hasn't made that clear why.
All right, got it. I'm sorry. Is there any more? I'm sorry?
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. You'll have a good weekend. Jonas, email steam, Hoppy. The government wants to screen tens of thousands of Syrian refugees under an immigration system they insist is broken and is used as a reason why they can't secure our border. Email steam. Says Ron, Hoppy, I long for the days when the wackiest Republican candidate was Sarah Palin. Christopher, email steam. Hoppy, I'm a conservative Republican, and I voted Republican in every presidential election where I could do so. That being said, with some Trump voters, I'm not sure where the line is for them. I thought it would be when he said John McCain was not a war hero. Then I thought it would be when he said Carly Fiorina had an ugly face. Then I thought it would be when he was making fun of the disabled guy. Then I thought it would be when he said we should target and kill the innocent family members, including children, of ISIS members. I thought when people learned of his previous comments, they would change their mind. Email steam from Bradford. Hoppy, the phrasing is disputable, but the quote is generally attributed to Benjamin Franklin. They that can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Go to Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn. What's your steam?
Hey, Hoppy. I wanted to congratulate you on what you do. I know you get put down a lot. Another thing is I wanted to talk about the thing where the president gives us money that are in checks every year, DICOLA. I'm really upset about that because people that are on those checks, they go from payday to payday.
Got it. Run out of time. Appreciate it. Everybody have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Go Rams. That game will be broadcast live tomorrow. You can listen at our website, wvmetronews.com. Keep up with the news of the day, the weekend, and all the time at our website at wvmetronews.com. Thank you, Joe Nelson, our producer. Thank you, Matt Sunday, handling the video stream. We appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend. See you next week. I'm Hoppy Kercheval. This has been Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.